almost every time I watch one of his speeches, at least one thing. So this speech is called Create a Connection.
Have you ever gotten in front of an audience or been in a situation where you had to put together some sort of speech or some sort of discussion, kind of at the last moment? You really haven't had any chance to plan, you really haven't had a chance to work it out, and you just kind of put in the spot and you got to say something. You're wondering what the heck to do. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That sort of thing happens all the time. And you think, what am I going to do? I got to fill up all this time. So if you've got, say, half an hour or 20 minutes, you're thinking, I got 20 minutes. I got to go out there and I got to be speaking. You're freaking out. It's like, how can I possibly fill out 20 minutes all the time of going out there on stage? Because you're thinking, I got to present. And you know how presentations work. I talk, you shut up, and you look at me, and go to sleep and check your PDAs and your iPads and those sort of things, and you get bored. But then that's how it works. And then I shut up, I sit down, and we're done. And the next person gets up. I talk, you shut up, and on it goes, right? Isn't that how it works? Yeah, exactly. And that's what I used to think. That's what it was. But that's exactly what speeching was. Speeching was I talk, you shut up, and that's all it is. But then I discovered something. Actually, I learned something from a mentor of mine. And it just transformed the whole way that I approach speaking. And it made it so much simpler. You can now give speech on the spot. Once you understand this, you can give speeches on the spot. It's not a big deal. In fact, Julie and I are working through the same sort of procedure there. When I explained it to you, I thought, that simplifies things. That makes things easier. Once you understand really what a speech is. Speech isn't just a lecture, at least a good speech. Speech is something different. Actually, a speech is a conversation. So, with every conversation, you've got what? You've got the speaker, and you've got the audience, right, and the listener. But here's the thing. It switches. It switches. Which means that I talk, you listen. But then there comes a part in a conversation where you get to talk, right? You get to say something, and then I have to listen. So if you could just simply create a conversation up there, if you have 20 minutes to fill, you only have to fill 10 minutes. Your audience fills the rest of it. Wouldn't that be great? Yeah, it's like, oh, thank you, please make this happen now. Been there. What if you could do that? Wouldn't that be incredible? Well, actually, there's a simple way to do it. A very simple way to create a conversation with your audience back and forth, and it has to do with a magical word, 3 letters, you've heard before, that I've used several times all the way through this. It's the word you. When you're speaking, make sure you use the you, and you can create a conversation with your audience. So in other words, if you're getting up here and you're having to do something like an icebreaker, instead of thinking you have to go through your whole itinerary and just all the way through it, you can see the eyes kind of glazing over. I've been there too. I did one of those things, and it's like I was afraid my audience was going to pass out or just lose consciousness. Just like, oh, it's so boring. Please stop, Tim, stop. Oh, I can't stand it anymore. But you create a conversation, it's a lot easier. Like you could say, for instance, in your speech, when you started up, you could say something like, as you heard before, I used to be in football. Not for very long. But the whole thing about creating a conversation is very simple. You just focus on the audience first. Audience first. And make sure you use the you. So you use the you, you're going to create that connection. And that's really all it is. So if you have those 10 minutes to fill, you go up there, involve the audience, you get them involved, and then things are a lot simpler. All of a sudden you get up there and you're like, hey, it's not a big deal. Because things start to flow. Things start to go. And when that starts to happen, you get more confidence. You get more certainty in what you're doing up here. Because you're aware, you're focused, and the audience starts paying more attention because you're paying more attention to them. Have you noticed when you pay more attention to people, they start paying more attention to you?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes they'll even talk back, right? So you get your audience nodding, smiling, agreeing, and pulling them in. That's so much better, that's so much simpler. And it all goes back to using the you. And once you get that confidence, once you get that certainty on stage, then everything's less stressful. Then all you have to do is to talk, create that conversation, and things are easier. They're simpler. They go better. In fact, the whole life force, the whole stress, the whole issues and challenges, people talk about job stress and those things. You've heard about that. That kind of goes away because it's not as big a deal when you're getting out there on stage. So when you're getting out there on stage and you really want to connect with your audience, all you have to do is create a conversation. And the simplest, easiest, and most effective way to create a conversation is to simply remember, use the you.
Wasn't I right? Didn't everyone learn at least one thing? Great job, Tim. Okay, so we move on to our evaluators. Sometimes we only have 3 speakers, sometimes as many as 6 or 7 or 8. Every meeting is different. Tom, for your icebreaker, I thought you did a great job.